Welcome to the Nature Walk with Anusha. Today we're going to be exploring the many facets of evolution, starting with the abiotic origin of life. To begin, we know that the Earth started around 3.5 to 3.9 billion years ago. That's right, folks, billion with a B. Let's talk a little bit about the evidence for evolution. First, we have anatomy. Species may share similar physical features because the feature was present in a common ancestor. These would be known as homologous structures. Next, we have molecular biology. DNA and genetic code reflect a shared ancestry of life. DNA comparisons can show how related species truly are. Next, we have biogeography. The global distribution of organisms and the unique features of island species reflect evolution and a geological change. Next, we have fossils. Fossils document the existence of now extinct past species that are now related to present-day species. Here we have the example of the goldfish fossil. As we can see, by direct observation, we can see how small-scale evolution in organisms with short life cycles can be present. In this phylogenetic tree, we can see the evidence of evolution. Moving on to phylogenetic trees. A phylogenetic tree is a visual representation of the relationships between species, taxa, individual, and population, etc., as we can see here. The node is the hypothetical ancestor, usually denotes a speciation or separation event. These individual branches represent an evolution of a lineage. Lastly, we have the outlier. The outlier is the species or individual or other entity that we are specifically studying. In addition, we can see that the yellow and the orange are more closely related than the green and the red are to the orange goldfish. Next, we're moving on to hybrid zones. Hybrid zones exist where ranges of two interbreeding species diverge and an interspecific lineage meets and cross-fertilizes. First, we have reinforcement. Reinforcing or strengthening reproductive barriers are when hybrids are less fit than members of their parent species and natural selection strengthens the prezygotic barriers to reproduction, thus reducing the formation of unfit hybrids. Next, we have fusion. This is the weakening of reproductive barriers and the speciation process reverses, causing two hybridizing species to fuse into one. Lastly, we have stability. This is the continued formation of hybrid individuals, sometimes because hybrids survive or reproduce better than members of the parent species.
Seen here are three variations of the two-footed dragon dinosaur. On the left, one extreme, on the middle, are neutral, and on the right, are other extreme. Here are our apex predators. This is an example of directional selection. As we can see here, one of the extreme variations of the two-footed dragon dinosaur blends in easily with the dark-colored surroundings. Here's an example of stabilizing selection. As we can see, only one variation, the neutral, blends in with the surroundings in this habitat. As a result, the other two get taken down by the apex predator. And here we see disruptive selection as the two extremes are selected for because the neutral just doesn't look nearly as intimidating on this beige carpet. There are a few mechanisms of speciation. We'll start with allopatric and sympatric speciation. In allopatric speciation, the two populations are prevented from breeding with one another by some sort of geographical divider, like this large sand dune mountain that is separating the two horse populations. In sympatric speciations, the two populations are prevented from reproducing by other barriers, such as behavioral isolation, like if they have two different courtship dances, or another barrier like temporal isolation, when one population is awake while the other is ready to breed, and then the other population is awake while the other is asleep while the other is ready to breed. Besides these two separators, there are also prezygotic and postzygotic barriers that lead to speciation or keep species distinct from one another. Prezygotic barriers are barriers like the ones already discussed, such as geographical, behavioral, and temporal isolation, all barriers that prevent any breeding from occurring at all. Postzygotic barriers are ones that are present if the two individuals have managed to mate with one another. Postzygotic barriers such as reduced hybrid fertility, reduced hybrid vitality, and hybrid breakdown. All of these prevent the hybrid from being born or living a healthy life where they successfully reproduce and continue their population.